Coming up tonight at 7, team coverage from the two-state as Hurricane Matthew begins to slam the Florida coast. The governors of Georgia and South Carolina both urging people to evacuate sooner rather than later.
But we can't take you by the hand and bring you to the upstate. We can't take you by the hand and say we need to get you out of there.
We will look at where thousands of evacuees from the coast will be calling home for a few days.
Tracking Matthew with continuing coverage on your side.
Good evening, I'm Richard Rogers in for Kelly tonight. President Obama has officially declared a state of emergency for Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina as the coast prepares for Hurricane Matthew. Meteorologist Kevin Coskren is tracking this Cat 4 storm for us this evening. And Kevin, sounds like the coast is going to get most of this damage and we're going to deal with wind and rain.
You got it, Richard. As you head toward Augusta, Aiken, our effects will not be tropical storm or hurricane force. We could have winds, say, up to 30 miles an hour in Augusta tomorrow night and Saturday, gusting as high as 40, but it gets progressively worse the closer you get to the coast. Well, it's going to be really bad for the next, say, 12 to 24 hours up the east coast of Florida. Yes, Matthew is a Category 4 storm right now with winds of 140 miles an hour, extending about 30 miles out from the center of the storm. Some of the outer bands of that storm are already making it into North Florida, and we're going to see this storm make its way up the east coast. It has winds of 140 now. By the time we get to the wee hours of Saturday morning, it'll be right over Brunswick, Georgia as a Category 2 storm. Then take a jog to the east, and by Saturday afternoon, it's going to start moving out of our vicinity. It should be around Charleston by 2 p.m. Saturday and eventually make its way out to sea. This more of a right turn on the track is good news for, say, Myrtle Beach and especially Wilmington and up the North Carolina coast. Then it could swing back around into early next week as a tropical storm and perhaps affect South Florida again. Let's hope that doesn't happen. We got a hurricane warning in effect on the coast from Charleston all the way down through the Florida coast and a tropical storm warning between Charleston and Wilmington. And also, this is an update from earlier today. A tropical storm warning has now been issued for Swainsboro, Sylvania, Allendale, the southern parts of the CSRA. What does a tropical storm warning mean? It means sustained winds of 40 miles an hour that are going to move in Friday night and last into much of the day on Friday. Here's a look at what we can expect for Augusta. A couple of inches of rain here in Augusta. 20 to 30 mile an hour winds gusting to 40, but as you go to our south, that's where the winds will be worse. Sustained 40, gusting to 50. As you head to the southern CSRA and especially toward the coast, there will be numerous power outages. We'll be back with more rain and wind information straight ahead.
Thanks very much, Kevin. South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley just wrapping up her second news conference of the day just a few moments ago. She says lane reversals out on the interstates will most likely end tomorrow.
Now is time for the state to pray, and we are praying for every citizen in South Carolina to help us.
Georgia Governor Nathan Deal also wrapped up a news conference in Savannah just a couple of hours ago.
I have not been one that has overreacted, but we do want to imply to everyone that it is serious, and we stand ready to help, but people have to help themselves first.
His news conference comes as 5,000 people are evacuating Savannah from that region of the coast. 30 Georgia counties in a state of emergency, including Screven, Jenkins, Emanuel, and Burke, closer to home. Hurricane Matthew has just started hammering South Florida, and it will hug the coast, doing more damage along the way as it spins upward toward us. Meanwhile, evacuees from Chatham County are coming by the busload to Augusta. Lindsay Tuman is live on your side at a local high school. Lindsay.
Richard, I want you to take a look behind me right now where you can see we have got those busloads of people beginning to unload here. They're at one of the high schools out here where they're using the high schools because they have detached gymnasiums where they can get a little bit more comfortable. Now, just in the past, I would say 20 minutes or so, 12 of those buses made their way over here. Now, 30 buses total so far have made their way from Chatham County to Augusta. Augusta is in an agreement with the county to get about 5,000 people. Now, on these 30 buses, we're looking at about 630 people, so a little less than half of those people should be here right now at this high school. Now, the reason they chose the high schools is just for the buses of the evacuees coming from Chatham County. That does not include the other people making their own self-evacuations from counties all along the coast, Georgia and South Carolina included. Those folks are staying at self-evacuation centers like Trinity Kennedy on the Hill, and when that one gets about 80% full, they'll open up the Brigham Community Center, and they're going to be doing the same thing with the high schools over here. As they get 80% full, they're going to open up another one. Now, as far as how this is going to affect you, city leaders just want you to be prepared as all of these people make their way down here to hunker down and ride out the storm.
Just generally, people have asked, what do we need our citizens to do? The first thing is we need our folks not to panic. As far as we know, in terms of our day-to-day living, there are only a couple of ways that we think that our visitors will affect us. We want to demonstrate good Southern hospitality to those who've come in. We realize that they're here under adverse circumstances. As far as we can tell, they're all trying to make the best of it. But we want to help show them that Augusta is a good place to be and that we're hospitable to folks who are here in times of distress.
We have lost Lindsay's mic there for a second, but she was going to say those evacuees are just arriving as we speak, and they are coming for hours more through this evening, and we'll be taking them in here in Augusta. Again, there could be as many as 5,000 bussed in from Chatham County, not counting any self-evacuees who roll in on their own cars. And for more on all this, you can call Augusta 311 or head to our website, NBC26.com. As far as how this might affect school on Monday, right now officials say they should go on as planned as far as Monday schools. They haven't heard otherwise yet, but these gymnasiums are usually separate from the actual school, so that's a plus. There should be minimum impact on the actual schools where this is all going on. Burke County also shuffling things around as hundreds of thousands hit the road to leave for the coast. I wanted to show you this from earlier. It's a freeze frame of I-16 a little while ago. All the traffic's heading out in the same direction. The interstate one-way traffic only leading away from the coast, and that will continue throughout this evening. Burke County now part of that state of emergency, so they're taking some precautions of their own. Christy Etheridge live outside Burke County High School with the latest decisions there.
Richard, as this storm keeps changing course, so do everybody's decisions and plans. But as of right now, Burke County has decided to release schools 30 minutes early tomorrow on Friday. So high schoolers and middle schoolers, you guys will be getting out at 2 p.m., whereas all elementary schoolers will be getting out at 2:30. They say the reason for this is wind. As Hurricane Matthew barrels toward the Georgia coast, even counties 120 miles inland are making plans.
And what you're doing is you're really using the National Hurricane Center and any other source you can find to try to make good, solid decisions.
They already moved football and softball games to tonight and postponed the homecoming celebration until next week's game against ARC.
One thing we're not going to do is put our young ladies out there in gowns and then let the skies open up on them.
Other decisions were made for fear of the wind. Burke County is named in the state of emergency and could get gusts up to 50 miles per hour starting Friday night. So they're getting students on and off the buses early, just in case.
Our transportation director told us that sustained winds of 35 miles an hour are definitely a danger to a moving bus. Can literally knock the bus over.
Since everyone east of 95 is evacuating, that route runs right through Highway 25. So the roads will only get busier.
You're going to have the last minute, people at the last minute makes their mind up about leaving. So it'll be pretty busy tomorrow and Saturday.
And that traffic has only been increasing throughout the day. Highway 25 is this road you see behind me, and all of these cars that are coming in from the right of your screen heading left, those are the people coming in from the coast heading into Augusta. But Richard, as of right now, that traffic is only going to get heavier through the weekend.
Yeah, so patience for all of us behind the wheel as we work through this weekend. Christy, thanks for the live update there from Burke County High School. We're going to keep an eye on all those shelters. On the South Carolina side of all this, more people are evacuating from the coast, Horry, Georgetown, Jasper, and Colleton counties in South Carolina, and you can see the result there. This morning, Governor Haley ordered people to evacuate in phases by noon today. She is urging people living in the evacuation zones not to take her orders lightly, and that, of course, means more people coming to Aiken County for shelter. Preston Willett, live on your site at South Aiken High School, where evacuees are staying until all this blows over. Preston, what's the latest?
nearly 200 people here at South Aiken High School, but they have another busload coming now from Florida. They're going to be coming right in this way, and that means they might have to open up another shelter. This second one would be at Paul Knox Middle School, but right now the Aiken County Sheriff's Office is keeping an eye on 4 traffic points right now. It could go up to 6 if needed as people come through the Jackson and Beach Island area. Millbrook Baptist Church is lending a helping hand here at South Aiken, opening up their facilities to evacuees just to give them something to do and get out of the shelter during the day. But now people are safe and have a roof over their head, but they're still thinking about what's going on at home.
I hate waiting. I want to find out what's going on, but we're having to wait on Mother Nature here, you know.
You can't control her.
Emergency management has been in meetings and conference calls all day getting updates from the state, but they should have some more information for us tomorrow. They weren't able to give us any today, but they are expecting to have a press conference tomorrow. But again, another number I want to just emphasize to everyone, 211. That's going to be the information guru for everyone. That's going to give you information about evacuation routes, evacuation shelters, where the closest one is, and where you can take your pets. So that's really the biggest number, 211, to look at. Live in Aiken County, Preston Willett on your side.
Preston, thanks a lot from a very busy shelter there on the South Carolina side. Hurricane Matthew will most likely knock out power in some areas around us, meaning cell phone service could also be a problem. Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T also say they're watching the path of the storm and have a plan to use backup generators to keep you connected. Verizon also testing drones to provide wireless coverage during weather emergencies. The company did its first test run of their drone system today, and we hope it was a big success. They may have to put it to work here soon. Emergency management in Bamberg is monitoring wind speeds as well because there could be an issue there with ambulance services. Liz Owens is live for us on your side with how health officials are preparing there. Liz, what's the latest there in Bamberg?
Augusta Highway 78, and if you take a look, it is very slow right now. That's a big concern for local law enforcement. They believe a lot of folks may be waiting the last minute at the coast to evacuate tomorrow, and that's when all the weather will hit. They do expect this highway to get much busier tonight now that Collington and Jasper counties are under a mandatory evacuation, and many have left though, and some are even riding out the storm here in Bamberg. More than 30 nurses from Mount Pleasant are staying at a local church so they can care for their patients who were also evacuated here. About 150 nursing home patients from the coast are staying at local facilities until the threat of the storm is over. At the high school, evacuees from Florida are staying until it's safe for them to go back home. And for locals here in town, now is the time to prepare, and for some even to leave.
Go out and get your water, your food. Just make sure you're prepared because anything can happen. I would like all the residents to please take heed to what Governor Haley is talking about and what your local emergency managers are talking about. We're not taking this thing lightly, and we need everybody to stay safe.
And emergency management is still unsure how safe it will be here during this storm. If winds reach more than 35 miles per hour, they can't run the ambulances. And also keep in mind that there is not a local hospital here in Bamberg or in Barnwell. So if you have a medical condition, please consider leaving tonight or tomorrow morning. Now, also, we had some new information tonight that Allendale and Bamberg are asking their residents that live in mobile homes to go ahead and evacuate before the storm hits. I called Barnwell. They are not making it mandatory for people in mobile homes to leave, but they say if you feel like you might not be safe, please go to one of the local shelters there. This is a very serious threat for these 3 counties. Bamberg is expected to up their level to OPCON 2 in the morning, which means an imminent threat is here. So please prepare and be careful out there. For now, we're live in Bamberg. Liz Owens on your side.
Thank you for that, Liz. One of the many towns seeing a lot more traffic than usual. We appreciate the live update there. And also, we want you to make sure that we're going to give you a live look here and more. No, actually, Kevin's going to take it. Go ahead, Kevin.
You got it, Richard. Off the southeast coast of Florida right now, it's a Category 4 hurricane. Its name is Matthew, and it's headed for the Georgia-Carolina coast. We'll talk about timing and track and intensity of this storm for our region coming up.
Right now, a live look from a marina in Fort Lauderdale down on Florida's east coast. That's just north of Miami. You can see the conditions there will be deteriorating fast.
Hurricane Matthew is closing in.
A hurricane watch has been posted for the entire Georgia coastline.
News 12 NBC 26 is on your side.
As Hurricane Matthew gets closer, we have live team coverage.
Tracking the storm.
Hurricane force winds, perhaps gusts over 70 miles an hour just off the Georgia coast.
Keeping you prepared.
Live on your side along a busy evacuation route.
All the information that you're going to need when you're evacuating.
Stay tuned. Stay safe. News 12 NBC 26 on your side.